Hello, welcome to Chad's Silversmithing. Thanks for visiting my channel. I appreciate it. If you consider hitting the like button before you leave today, that helps me out a lot. I have some good news to announce today. We passed 2,500 subscribers. I wanted to thank my subscribers for that. Thank you guys for doing that. I'm pleased with the growth of the channel, and I'm enjoying doing this and meeting all sorts of nice new people. Consider watching a couple of videos while you're here and find out if maybe this is a good channel for you to subscribe to as well. There's a lot of good content here, especially for beginners, as well as some unique ideas for people with a little experience to explore. So, the other group I wanted to thank is my patrons over on Patreon. If you're interested in Patreon, it's one of the ways you can support the channel. Or a way to get some exclusive content. So check those things out. I thought we could do some different kinds of bales today. I tend to get in a rut on the types of bales that I make, and I've discovered a few along the way that are different, that are kind of fun. And I thought periodically I'd do a video and share a few of those. So I think I'm going to show you 3 basic varieties of bale and some variations of those. So let's get started. Okay, so I thought I would show you 3 basic types of bales today. Some interesting designs, I think, and like I said in the intro, I kind of get stuck in a rut, and I do the same thing over and over again. If you've seen my other bale video, there's and you can check it out there. I'll put a link up there. It's kind of the basic bale that I use for everything, or almost everything. So like this sort of a bale where you have kind of a teardrop shape from the side with a little border on it, and it comes to a point and you solder it so it's loose through a jump ring on the whatever your pendant is. And I use that one a lot, but it's fun to get away from that and do something different. And so I think we'll start with, I think I'm going to call it a sandwich bale because I don't know what else to call it. And it kind of is made like a sandwich. So I'm going to have, and it doesn't matter what shape you want to make it, I'm going to make a circular one like I did on the video where I did a piece of jewelry inspired by a lamp. So and I'll put a link up there if you want to see that one. But that has one on it, but I thought I'd show the basic steps to doing that as well as a variation or two. So what it basically consists of, let's make sure you can see this here, is a piece of sheet here, a piece of sheet here, some thick square wire here and here to create a slot going through there. And in this case, I'm going to make a circle. So I'll probably do kind of a curved piece of square wire like that, and then just a little one down at the bottom so that a chain can go through there. And I'll probably smooth this out so this chain will ride nicely along there. So, and then we'll just put 2 layers on that. This one's going to be a squared box, or a squared tube, I should say, where it has kind of a slight curve to it. And this one's going to be, it's actually going to be, well, it's going to look like this, actually, from the front. It's going to look like flat on top, and come like this, and I made an example with a reticulated piece of silver, and I'm going to do a pattern wire, a pattern on the rolling mill on this one to give it some character, and then we'll drill a hole in it here after we've shaped it from the side so it looks like this. Around something round, or cylindrical, I should say. And then we'll put a jump ring through the hole that we drill there and solder it closed. So 3 basic kinds. I think let's start with the sandwich kind. So I'm going to cut myself a couple of nice circles. Okay, I have a couple of round little discs I punched out. I'm going to use some of this 10 gauge square for our spacer between the 2 pieces of sheet that we're going to make the bale out of here. I'm going to snip off the end there. I don't need a huge piece. so I'm going to go ahead and cut some solder for those guys. So I got a bunch of solder over here. I'm just going to pick a little bit on this thing here. Get it up to soldering temperature and get it to flow. Spread out along there. Same thing on this one here. Okay. The solder is downwards. So I'm trying to put these two parallel with each other. I may have to do one at a time because it's wobbling so much. Okay, so I'm trying to do it so the top edge of the square wire here is actually at least up to where the edge of the circle is. So let's see if we can't get him to solder down to that circle by heating it. Sometimes when stuff's sitting on top of it, stuff like that, it kind of moves around on you. Now let's put this guy on here. I want these guys to be pretty parallel. Probably good enough. Alright, now let's flux this one. Let's position this one on top of the other one. Just trying to get them straight above each other so that they're not offset at all. Which sometimes don't succeed at very well. Let's do it today. I deliberately did this so there was a little bit of square sticking out. It should have then a nice smooth path to go through the middle of the chain, but I can trim off this excess so we have a nice circle then. Just file this down. I didn't get this lower one quite as close to the edge as I would have liked, but I don't think it matters that much. I can still maintain the roundness of the whole thing, and it'll still do exactly as it's supposed to do, which is to hold the chain. Put this around the lower one down here. Just to go through here. So I could either solder a jump ring in here like this to attach to, you know, a pendant or whatever, and then run the chain above it, or you could just solder the bottom of this right to the pendant with a piece of silver or a silver ball or something like that to connect it. But either way, the chain will go through that upper part nicely and flow nicely through there. So that's one style like that. And sometimes one of the cool things about bales, I think, is you can kind of incorporate the design of whatever you're making into the bale as well, and kind of mirror the shapes and things like that. So lately I've been making a lot of triangular stuff. So I made one of these. You can see Same basic idea. I've got a piece on the bottom, piece on the top, but I just use triangular pieces instead. So you'd run a chain through there and just solder this right to the top of your piece, or you could, again, you could do a jump ring through there, or a lot of things. You could even put a stone on the surface of one of these if you wanted to. There's a lot of cool variations you could do, or pattern it, or reticulate it, or hammer it, you know, or do a design on it. There's so many different things you can do with these. So that's another one of these sandwich type. Okay. Next one, let's do the squared off box. Okay. And I think I'm going to use 22 gauge for that. These were both 22 gauge as well, and then I used 10 gauge square for the spacers between it. So for this one, I'm going to make kind of a curved square box like that. So we basically need to cut 2 strips like this, which we will curve into this shape. And then we'll cut a square of sheet to solder those down to, and then a square to solder it on top of, and then we'll trim off the excess. So let's go about 5 millimeters here for the height. Okay, this is quite a bit longer than I probably need, but I didn't want to have too little either. So. I'm going to make my bale pretty small. That long. Got another piece using that one as the guide. Okay. Let's file these up so they're nice and symmetrical. Okay, so I just want a little tiny bit of a curve on these. Tap them around this a little bit. I think I might have enough on this little piece of scrap 22 to get one of the sides. Let's see. Sure, why not? We can make that work. So to start with, I'm going to sweat solder some solder onto this sheet here so we have a back for it. Flex them a little bit. I'm just trying to get them to sit pretty consistently. Sometimes one or the other will tilt a little bit. I'm trying to use up little scrap pieces of 22 gauge here. Most of these you can mount a stone on. I think that's always fun to add a stone to the bale. Or another thing is if you have a tube bale like this, that I kind of like the effect is when you mount a stone above it and a stone below it, so the chain kind of goes through it, pendant almost. That's kind of a cool look. Let's flux this other piece of sheet. You could do this the other direction too, I suppose, with the bottom side upright. I don't think it matters too much. A little harder to get the sheet on the bottom hot enough, but focus it right at the base. You usually don't have too many problems. Saw flowage on this side. I don't know about the other side, but I think it probably did. So let's take a look at it and see. Yep, looks good. We can trim off some excess here now. You could actually saw this if you'd like. I'm just going to take a shortcut here. I'm going to clean up the underside with the Dremel. That's easier. Alright, so I cleaned it up with the Dremel a little bit, and you can kind of see how it looks. And the chain flows nicely through those things, and you can solder them right onto the pendant if you want to, or you could put a jump ring here and dangle it, from that. Or sometimes I use little silver balls as a way to attach things to bales. It's kind of annoying, but let's say you were going to use this as your pendant. This is something I made the other day. Just attach it right to that if you want to. That gives kind of a cool look. Lots of fun things. Let's see. I made another similar one just to show you a variation of the same kind of thing. This one I just randomly punched some holes through it with the drill just to give it something different. Probably should do it a little more symmetrically, but you know, and you can see I soldered on a jump ring on the bottom there so you can hang something off of it. I would have cut a design in here with the saw, and I actually tried, but I didn't do a very good job. So I decided to just drill some holes to show you some, you know, that you could do some pierce work if you wanted to. So one of these days I'll get better at sawing, and then I will do something intricate. All right, so there's, you know, two variations of the same thing. And these are both sandwich ones. And then finally, I'm going to do one, and we're going to make an oval, and we're going to texture it with the rolling mill. And then I'm going to fold it in half over a cylindrical rod and hammer it so that it's flat, and we'll drill a hole through it and run a jump ring through it. So first off, though, let's put some pattern on this thing. So we're going to go over the rolling mill. We're here at the rolling mill area. So that's just about snug right there. I'm going to use this particular pattern, which has kind of a sort of organic-y pattern. Okay, I think this is a lapidary template, but I use it a lot for cutting out little ovals and things. I think this one's going to be too big. I'll use this one here. I think I'm just going to scratch a line around here, and I'll cut it out. Looks pretty close. I think I'm going to do a little filing to smooth it out on the sides. You could do this one with a number of different shapes, I imagine. That looks pretty good. I think since we rolled it through the rolling mill, it's going to be pretty hard because that work hardens it really badly. So let's anneal it just a little bit to soften it up. This is all cooled off now. So I think I'm gonna start the bend on this with the bale making pliers I have here, just to get it started around here. I'll try and get it pretty straight up and down on this oval here. Using leverage to get this to bend a little, to get it to start bending anyway. Now I'm going to use a little bit thinner rod. This is a dapping punch. Let's see if I can't get this to kind of flatten out over that. If you have some nylon pliers that are still in good shape, you might be able to use them in this instance. These ones are pretty rough, so I think that was the pliers breaking. Okay, last step is let's go over and drill a hole in it. I'm not sure if you can see the little purple mark that I made, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little dimple in there. Since this is not a flat piece I'm doing this to, I have my little C-clamp there to stop it. I got that pretty close to the center, hopefully. I guess we'll find out. Okay, so I have a little jump ring I made out of 18 gauge. So for me, I don't like to leave stuff unsoldered. So generally, when I'm doing something like this, I'm not going to leave that unsoldered. I will solder it shut. And then I will interlock another loop on the pendant, you know. I put a loop on here or something so that they could interlock like that. I don't like it so that someone could yank on it and it could pull off. Quick. Alright, so we got a little soldered jump ring on there now. I'll let these all clean up a little bit. Oh, here's the little bit smaller one I did with reticulated silver. So I think those came out all right. So we got your square tubes, variations of these. Your kind of sandwich bales where you got either soldered right to your piece with a chain running through it or a chain and a jump ring running through it. Okay, some variations of that. So lots of fun choices here. I think you could do a lot of different things with these. Like I said earlier, put some stones on them, do some texture, do some cutouts. If you're good at sawing, doing some intricate sawing through some of these might be kind of cool. I think there's a lot of potential for interesting bales here. So, I guess that's what we got for today. So thanks for watching. The Bale video #1. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. I don't know if you noticed, but down below there is now merch here. So if you've been thinking to yourself, wow, I just really can't live without a mug with Chad's face on it, now's the time. So check out the links down below for my online store there. You can also check out my website if you are interested in checking out some of the jewelry I've made. I'll put a link in here up there for you. But definitely hit the video description and check out the various links there and see what's here to offer. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you coming by. Take care and happy silversmithing.